Well, hello, slingers. Welcome back to another Wordslinger podcast. Got a special one for you today. We're talking to the founder of Genius Links, Jesse Lakes. You're not going to want to miss it. Stick around.
It's the Wordslinger podcast, where story matters. Build your brand, write your book, redefine who you are. It's all about the story here. What's yours? Now, here's the guy who invented pants optional, Kevin Tumlinson, the Wordslinger.
Wordslinger.
Well, I am J. Kevin Tumlinson, the Wordslinger. Welcome to, this would be the final Wordslinger podcast of the year of 2024. Isn't that something, man? Isn't that something? 2024 kind of just blew by, but we sort of say that every year, don't we? It seems like every year I sit in front of this camera and this microphone or similar cameras and microphones, and I say, wow, this year went by fast. Is there ever a year that just, I don't know. Well, I guess thinking back, there are plenty of years we've had in the past half decade or so that went by not so fast. So, but we don't talk about those. We don't mention those. Anyway, here we are on the cusp of the year 2025, which who knows? Who knows what this year will hold for us? I'm sure it will go by quickly for some and slowly for others. I'm sure that's how it's going to work out. But before we get to that, before we get to 2025, we have this wrap up of 2024 to deal with. And this interview today is one that I think is almost emblematic of what I think of as the spirit of indie publishing and entrepreneurship, which is Jesse Lakes, the founder of Genius Links. If you're not familiar with Genius Links, it's a pretty incredible platform that allows you to sort of link all of the places that a book or sometimes other products are sold with one link. So if this sounds familiar, it's because for years I talked about a similar product that Draft Digital came up with called the Books to Read Universal Book Link. But the way that Jesse's done this with Genius Links, it's kind of like taking that concept of books to read to a little bit higher level, a more polished level in a way, because you can do more than simply the book itself. You get a lot more data, a lot more metrics out of this. There's just a lot more to it. It's very impressive, you know. And I've played around with it. I've mostly used it on the side of being an author, participating in some promotions that were done using Genius Link for like for each of the author's books, and creating that landing page and everything. So I've always been very impressed by it. I've just haven't used it as much as I probably could have. That's changing. We'll say that that's on my list of new things to try in 2025. I've played around with it a little. I really like it, and I like that you can embed, affiliate links and things like that. So it's very versatile, very powerful. And we talk about some of the additional things that Jesse's built and is partnering with and acquiring and things in this interview. Jesse's a great guy. I had the pleasure of hanging out with him at Author Nation in Vegas this past November, and really glad that I got a chance to meet and chat with him. And I'm looking forward to chatting with him again in the future. But for now, you get to hear our most in-depth chat to date on this episode of the Wordslinger podcast. So stick around, listening on that. Hope you get something out of it, and stick around because after it's all over, you'll have my note at the end, which you don't want to miss. So stick around for that, and see you on the other side. Well, hello everybody. Thanks for sticking around through the intro. I'm excited about talking to today's guest. He's got a product that I'm going to say I have used sort of tangentially Jesse. But I'm talking to Jesse Lakes. He's the founder of Genius Links. You've probably heard of it. If you haven't, you're about to get an education that you won't regret. But welcome to the show, Jesse.
It's awesome to be here. Thank you for the invite to join you today.
Man, we were just hanging out in Vegas at Author Nation. Got a chance. Not we didn't go out for drinks or anything. Man, we'll have to do that
We
next
should
time.
have,
Yeah, we should have
but if we
done
did
that.
that, then we wouldn't have this conversation
We
now.
wouldn't. Yeah, we might not have come around. You might have decided, no, can't do it. I can't talk to this guy for 30 minutes. Just can't handle it. But no, it was good. It was good to meet you. As I said, here's my experience with your service. Okay, forgive me.
All
I've
good.
I've primarily used it as a participant in one of the authors that I kind of do some stuff with does a kind of a big thriller author promotion thing like every
Hmm.
couple of months, and he uses Genius Links for all that.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that's just about the extent of my experience with it. I've kind of looked it over and everything. Haven't
Well,
taken the plunge, but
for good reason though. With your background at Drafted Digital built a really great tool in the universal booklink space as well. Books to
yeah,
read is a solid tool. So
good. I'm
it's
glad to hear that. Yeah, I wasn't going to
yeah.
mention it. I wasn't
No,
going to
no,
bring it up. It's not really a competitive tool. It's different in many respects, but and you'd be able to enumerate those differences.
I've got opinions, I've got
Yeah.
thoughts, but yes.
Well, here's the thing about we're gonna spill a little tea right now. You ready?
I'm
Because
ready.
I mean, I still love Draft Digital. I'm still big fan, big supporter, big promoter. Haven't been with them for over a year now. I came into that business to launch that service
Oh,
for
no way.
books to read. Yeah. That was the very first thing I did when I came on board. So I've been a big believer in it. I'm going to say, and I don't think that Chris and the team would disagree with me here, but it's not getting the kind of attention and love that it should get to make it what it has the potential to be. It's sort of right now it's serviceable, but not. It hasn't reached its peak form yet. So
I running a software business, I can understand.
yeah,
It's
yeah, it's perfectly justifiable. I'm just saying there's more that could happen there.
absolutely, absolutely.
So tell us about Genius Links. Let's start with an overview of what it is, and then I want to dive into the origin story more. But tell us what it is, how it works, and specifically how authors could benefit from it.
For sure. So it all revolves around, a universal book link, right? UBL. It's a term that's becoming thankfully more and more popular in the book space, the author space is, people are pushing more on the marketing side. And the general gist of a universal book link, and again, Genius Link is a universal book link tool. Books to Read is a universal booklink tool. We've got another property that we manage called Booklinker, another universal booklink tool. I think those are the core three. There's also other tools out there. Author Helper, Reader Links is another tool that's similar. But
Yeah,
the core value add, the core piece of that is to ensure that when you, as an author or marketing an author or marketing a book, you can share just a single link that's going to work harder to sell your book than just a random Amazon link or a random Bitly link is.
yeah,
And that's kind of across two different ways, right? One is that you want to make sure that that universal book link works worldwide,
yeah,
that someone that's reading your book from Australia that's maybe not so inclined to buy from Amazon.com, but Amazon Australia is much easier. We want to make sure that reader in Australia can go and buy your book from Amazon's Australia store. So that international aspect is a key piece. The second valuable piece is that as we're seeing more and more people move from being exclusive to Amazon and to publish widely, distribute widely,
yeah,
is that link will provide other retailers to buy. Amazon is a great retailer, but they're not the only retailer. And a
right.
lot of people would prefer to buy elsewhere. So Universal Book Link, the two core value adds, international, um, as well as multi-retailer.
Yeah,
Genius Link offers a tool to do exactly that. And unlike Books to Read or BookLinker, the Genius Link tool is much more geared towards towards the author that enjoys marketing, that wants to lean in, that is not afraid of marketing because it's more open-ended. There's a lot more features and functionality than kind of the other two people in the space, the other two
Yeah.
players in the space, which is good for those that want that, but can be challenging for the authors that see marketing as a chore and not an adventure.
Yeah, yeah. So are there features or tools built into Genius Link that kind of assist with the marketing beyond just providing a localized link?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things. I think by it being an open-ended platform, you unlock a lot of those bits and pieces. So just having a lot more analytics to kind of dive into. I don't believe Books to Read nor BookLinker include a language breakdown. Knowing
Yeah.
what the native language is for the people clicking our links can be helpful when you're at the stage of thinking about,
Yeah.
publishing in other languages. There's the ability to customize how those buttons are laid out in which order, adding the affiliate tracking information for a variety of them. If you want to set A/B tests, you can do so. You can change the art that's shown on the landing page. You can change the language. Again, it's just a lot of features and functionality to make it open-ended and customize it and tweak it exactly how you want. And yeah, help you iterate on that.
Yeah. That's the A/B testing is something I think a lot of uh the data centric authors would be very interested in. Kind of because you could use this to build a sort of an ad hoc platform, really, like through social media, through your homepage, things like that, right? Because it generates a landing page. So there's a lot you could do because of that.
Landing page, and then I guess on top of that, just to iterate on your earlier question plus this is that with Genius Link you have the ability to add logic rules. So if the country is Canada and the language is French, go here. But if the country is Canada and
Yeah.
the language is English, go there. If it's an iOS device and it's French Canadian, then go somewhere else completely. So just you can get super granular in how exactly you want to do that. So go back to kind of your ad platform analogy. Yeah, the ability to do these crazy little bits of targeting and send people to the perfect opportunity for them is absolutely built right in there.
Yeah. So is it books only, or ebooks only?
No, Genius Link is completely open-ended. In fact, we originally built Genius Link for the music space,
Yeah.
and then the app space kind of came over and took over, and that was part of the adventure. Books wasn't probably until 3 or 4 years into the adventure when we realized, oh wow, the same
Yeah.
problem we're trying to solve over here is the same problem that authors and publishers are having.
Yeah. Yeah. But it seems like well, I don't know. I'm skewed because the only experience I ever have with it is books. So
Mhm,
I
mhm.
need it felt like, and in looking over how it works and what the offering is, I'm like, oh yeah, I could really see kind of expanding on this, especially as authors. So what's happening a lot now is authors are digging into things like direct sales and
Mhm.
merch and a whole bunch of other things that something like this would be handy to kind of unify all that. So that's not a
Yeah,
question. I should ask a question at the end.
a leak management tool. I'm just going to agree with you because a leak
Yeah,
management tool can make your life a lot easier, especially again as an author that is exploring marketing plus
yeah,
direct sales plus wide distribution plus international plus translations, etc. There's a lot of different components that our goal with the dashboard is just to consolidate it and make it easy for you. Everything there to inform
yeah.
you, educate you, and make it easy to make changes when you learn stuff.
Plus, you can build in all those affiliate links from all those different retailers, right?
And my background is affiliate. That's where I came from. So it's I love it when an author understands the amount of beer and pizza money at a minimum that can come from affiliate and a real strong secondary revenue stream
I
when you
mean,
really do
yeah,
lean into it.
no joke. I mean, you know what? I have fallen off the wagon a little with that sort of thing because I used to, in the first iteration of the Wordslinger podcast, I was very meticulous about keeping up a landing page with books to read links at the time, but for any authors I brought on the show, any books that they had, I would create a link so they could I could get the and I could capture affiliate dollars for those beyond simply Amazon. Although
Hmm.
I got to tell you, some of those people out there, some of the services and retailers out there do not make affiliate stuff easy. Like I still haven't figured out like Rakuten and like I
Google
don't.
Play is my
Oh
Achilles
yeah,
heel.
that
I
one's tough.
cannot figure out Google Play. Yeah,
Yeah,
for authors, it's a little bit easier. And again, I have written books, but man, they make it really hard to learn how to monetize or to get into the dashboard to be able to monetize links for
yeah,
Google Play.
yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, yeah. So I need to get back to them. I'll have to look in. I'll probably use Genius Links for it. I'll just be honest. Because it's
We can help you out with
inexpensive.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll reach out. We'll trade. We'll do a
Have
little
your people talk
trading.
to my people. We'll get it
Yes,
figured
right.
out.
That's right. Yeah, and by the way, my people are on this call at this exact moment right now. So, uh, so let's you kind of helped me segue a little because you talked about your background. Let's dive into that because I want to know first of all
Yeah,
how this came about. But I mean I want to know your story. Like how did you get here and where'd you start?
it's been an adventure. Get comfortable. Here it goes.
All right.
Um,
I've got my green tea. I'm
Perfect.
ready.
So I learned the term entrepreneur in high school. A buddy of mine's dad called me an entrepreneur. I had no idea what it meant. And he said, it's what you are. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Graduate high school, I used my first, I bought my first domain name, used some high school graduation money. And I graduated high school in 99, and bought my domain name and thought I was going to do web development and start a web agency and was all excited about that. And then started to build this site for extreme sports. And this was again right during that dot-com era. So I'm
Right.
in college now. I've got these business classes. I've got some basic web building background, but wanted to build this extreme sports site. I had to do a business plan, and that business plan, part of it was these pro formas. I was so excited because according to this spreadsheet, I was going to graduate college as a millionaire because if I got this many people to come to the website and look at it, I could sell the ads for this amount, and it was going
Yeah.
to be amazing. Well, of course, the dot-com crash happened. I think I was about a junior that year. And my data that I was using for this pro forma was all wrong. It turns out that ads were going from $80 for 1,000 impressions to like 30 cents for 1,000 impressions. So ads was just kind of out of the question. Affiliate was kind of what replaced it. And affiliate was something that I hated initially because it meant that I was not going to graduate rich and famous, but rather I was going to have to work really hard to make a few bucks. So
Yeah.
my initial kind of collision of affiliate and web didn't go so well. Fast forward a handful of years, I've had a few different projects now, but I'm working as a whitewater rafting guide. I'll spend my summers in Colorado, my winters in Costa Rica, and then fall and spring I crash at my parents' house. And I was taking the soundtracks for extreme sports films and linking them up to links to iTunes and Amazon. So every year, Warren Miller comes out with a new film. You get 50 to 60 songs, 25 of them are new and 25 are old favorites, but everyone wants to go to iTunes or Amazon and download these. So it was the first real project where I had that hockey stick growth in traffic. Super excited about that. But the real head scratcher at this point was my revenue was really flat. And every year it just got further and further apart. What's going on here? So the classic aha moment that these entrepreneurs get is realizing that skiing and snowboarding and surfing and music are all international. People around the world love these things. The oh no moment was when I realized because I was linking to Amazon.com
Yeah.
and the US iTunes store, if you didn't have a US based credit card, you couldn't buy these digital products. So that was the big realization that I'm essentially serving up broken links for all these people. So called up my best friend. He's an engineer at Microsoft and said, "Hey, his name's Jesse too, by the way. It makes it easy. But hey, Jesse, what's going on here? Can we build a smart link, right? Can we build a link that based off someone's location or device or language, we can send to the right spot?" And a classic engineer, you've obviously worked with some engineers, but the classic engineers are, of course I can build anything,
Of
but
course.
you have to write me the requirement stock, right? You have to figure out how it actually works. So I skipped out on Costa Rica that year and just buckled down and learned everything I possibly could about the iTunes affiliate program. They didn't have a lot of documentation, so it was pretty frustrating, but just kind of poked and prodded and found some things here and there, and eventually kind of learned how it worked. Got my buddy, got Jesse the notes so he could start building. And I had another friend. He said, I know you've been seeing this girl in Colorado. Why don't you try to impress her and actually do something with your life? Stop being a bum. Write a book. It's like, oh, well, yeah, why not? I could go snowboarding and write a book and blah, blah, blah. So I spent a good chunk of that summer trying to impress the girl and wrote the Mastering the iTunes Affiliate Program book. And it was all this documentation, 60,000 words, 160 pages, and I was stoked. This was cool. And just as about ready to publish, sent a copy off to Apple, thinking they would be just as excited as I was. And classic Apple, got a cease and desist and a threat they were going to sue me if I published the book. So
Of
of course,
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pissing my
Been
pants.
there. I got a
Yep,
couple of those myself. So yeah,
exactly. I
go
need to
ahead.
put them on the wall. Um, but then I get a call from this woman. She screams at me for a bit, but I summon the courage and say, why don't you actually read the book? Let's read the book and let's see what happens. So 2 weeks later, get another call back. Am I over the age of 18? Am I a US citizen? Yes and yes. It's like, okay, well, you're going to come work for me. Okay. So traded my flip-flops for a cubicle commute in Cupertino and spent the next 2 years at Apple as the global program manager for their affiliate program, making my book essentially obsolete except for one thing. And that was around this whole, what we now call geofragmentation. They paid me really well to 3x the footprint and 10x the volume of their affiliate program, which means that different people in different countries clicking on links thing was just worse.
Yeah.
So I'm standing on my soapbox, I'm telling everyone here, and the gist was, if it's not $1 billion problem, Apple won't put
Right.
engineers on it. They
Right.
have to focus on the biggest problem. And it makes it, Apple's obviously a massive company. They've got really smart people doing really great things.
Yeah.
So I'm scratching my head here. It's like, okay, entrepreneur, where's the opportunity here? So traded in my badge. Half an hour later, went back and pitched my old team. And Apple was one of our first clients. So in 2012, struck out first full time, and yeah, was really lucky to have my old marketing team need its technology to fix this, again, geofragmentation, this user experience, make sure people get to the right product, but also this monetization, make sure the right affiliate tracking information is used. So 2012, we started GeoRiot, as it was originally known, very focused on the music space. Apps, again, kind of came in, and it wasn't, until a couple years later that we realized that the books had the exact same problem of different IDs, different suppliers, different distributors, means that one book has different links in different parts of the world, even if you are still buying from Apple or Amazon or whatever retailer it may be. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the origin story.
Yeah. And so, and this is one of the fun parts of your bio, by the way, is that so you've written a second book, but it's really the first book because the first one never got published because you were going to get sued.
They gave me the thumbs up, and I think I maybe sold a couple. I just sold as a PDF, but yeah, now I
I
have
see.
a book in Amazon that it's actually a physical book, which man, that physical book feels good.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that first book was really just a modified resume and cover letter.
So is that what brought you around to the publishing space?
So I've always been fascinated with the idea of making information more accessible and helping
Yeah.
people move forward with a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really fun to write and kind of publish that first book. And that really helped solve some problems, again, for a very limited number of people on the iTunes space. We've been supporting the Amazon ecosystem since 2013, and we've just seen a lot of misinformation, a lot of people doing the wrong thing and getting themselves in trouble, getting kicked out of the affiliate program, just not being efficient. So part of it is this desire to organize information. Part of it is just being super bummed about people doing the wrong thing because they didn't know better. that
Yeah.
really led to publishing this next book. So I dream of someday being a fiction writer, and maybe I'll get
Oh,
there at some point. But for the time being, yeah, it's fixing problems through written word.
I mean, what kind of fiction writer do you want to be? What do you want to write?
I love science fiction, and a wide range, and I listen more than I read these days. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was half the fun of Author Nation, is just to get to go around and geek out with some really great writers.
Yeah. 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 Author Nation was is chock full of, I mean, there were 1,200 attendees this year, which was down like 400 over last year at 20, the final 20 books. But
But still, a
uh,
massive conference room
that's a
full of
huge, yeah.
really
For
great
the indie
writers.
author space in particular, that's the largest conference in the world for indie authors. So
Yeah.
plenty of writers to meet. Yeah. Okay. So what's keeping you from being a fiction writer? What's the hang up?
Um, I I don't have a good excuse. I really don't. I'm
You have a
obviously
problem
running.
to solve, and we already know that solving problems, that's
I,
right in your wheelhouse.
I'm really enjoying running Genius Link at the time being. I've got two little
Yeah.
rugrats running
Yeah.
around as well that I like to be present for. So I think it's a time challenge at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been pushing on this Genius Link thing for over a decade. We've yeah, seen some growth. We're a bootstrap company, so a lot of ups and
Yeah.
downs. But yeah, right now I owe it to my team and family that's the core focus. Maybe when I become a better executive and can create more time for myself,
Yeah.
I can prioritize the writing piece. So that's a
I
great
hear you.
question. And when you see me next year, I want you to ask that same one.
I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to ask you every time I see you. But no, I don't want to make you feel pressured because you're doing the right thing. Like you've got the right philosophy, right? You've got your core. It's that hedgehog. You know what I'm talking about with that, right? That's your
No,
hedgehog, you know. You don't know that?
tell me. I don't know
Uh,
the hedgehog.
okay, I got to think of where that came from. One of the many sort of entrepreneur self-help style books that I've read in my life talked about how the most successful people have. So the hedgehog has effectively one core defense. Rolls up
Okay.
in a ball, exposes those spikes, and that's what it uses to protect itself no matter what the threat is. And so, as an entrepreneur and a business leader, you need to find what your single skill is, the core skill that
Hmm.
is the basis of everything you do. You can evolve from that, but unless you understand your core skill, you're going to be threatened. So it's the people who try to do everything that go under the fastest, right? So you need to know, how do I roll up in a ball and expose those spikes? So there you
Thank
go.
you.
I
I
probably just butchered that poor author's whole concept because I vaguely remember the whole thing. But
Well,
it's
I
one of those
just
that
learned something
stuck with
new.
me.
So you
Yeah,
are honoring them by, yeah,
good.
passing it on.
And then I didn't remember who they were. So the curse of the author.
It'll be in the show notes, right?
It'll be. I'm sure I'll find it in the show. Oh, thanks for committing me to something. I gotta now dig up and find the show. I'll create a smart link for it. Uh, so our Genius Link. I'm sorry, man. I
Oh,
just butchered the
it's
name of your service. I'll create a Genius Link for it. I
Smart Links
accidentally
works as well.
I accidentally revealed my competitive service, Smart Links, from
Well,
Kevin
Smart
Tumlinson.
URL. You remember Smart URL back in the day?
Yeah,
That was another music focused one. That's an interesting story. I was working at iTunes, and one of the agencies rolls in, and they're so proud of these links, and everyone at iTunes is kind of laughing. It's like, oh yeah, this guy Jesse did it, 3 years ahead of you. But
yeah.
that's cool.
That's what you want to be. Do you think it's interesting though that around the because when was this? When did you create Genius Link?
So Genius Link, the concept came out in like 2008, 2009. Again, we went
Okay,
full time with it 2012.
okay,
Booklinker, I think we bought in 2014. I think it started in like 2013, late 2012, and then yeah, ran some challenges before we acquired it.
okay. Well, so yeah, you actually beat Draft Digital to the punch by I'm gonna say I think it was 2016 when we launched. So like almost a decade. So
Well, but that was
well
also
done.
about the time that Smart URL
Yeah.
stopped because Smart URL was, did a great job marketing themselves and getting themselves in front of authors, even though it was a music marketing agency building a music marketing tool.
Yeah.
Authors are just crafty people and figured out a way to leverage it. But it seemed like, it was 2016 where they really pulled back. So yeah,
Yeah.
there was a need in the market, and you did a
Yeah.
great job. You filled it.
Who do you consider your target market, your core market?
So in the author space, there's kind of two sides of it, right? BookLinker, we've put a lot of time and effort into making it just as simple as it possibly can.
Yeah.
And the target market there is an author that has published at least their first book, knows they need to market it, but doesn't enjoy marketing. So
Mhm.
it's just a super simplified, build your link, get it out there. You need some basic metrics to know it's working, but you don't want bells and whistles. You don't want distractions. It's just a core focus there. For Genius Link side, it's really the author that cares deeply about their marketing. They're willing to, Genius Link starts at $6 a month, so they're willing to
Mhm.
put a little bit of money there. Maybe they don't care about affiliate, but it also works well with publishers. We're seeing more and more publishers jumping on the Genius Link side. We also, very fortunate to support the largest publishers in the world as well. So Genius Link is definitely geared towards, the more professional marketer side.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see it. YouTubers and other content creators are probably,
Yeah, that's a
big.
whole other
Yeah.
aspect of our business where, if you go onto YouTube and search for, gni.us inside quotes, you'll see, probably 100,000 plus results of clients using our links to recommend, shampoo for their cars and the
Yeah.
newest iPhone and, baby toys, right? Our clients, again, the platform Genius Link is open-ended. You can use it
Yeah.
to recommend anything. And Amazon, 600 million products. There's a lot of different things you can recommend just on Amazon alone.
What I appreciate though is that a lot of times when you have a product that's has a broader scope than simply books and author related stuff, there's a tendency to like, oh yeah, this can work for authors, but it's since it's not specifically made for authors, like there may be features that are kind of broken for an author to use, or that you see that a lot.
Yep.
And so yeah, but you seem to have zeroed in. You actually attended an author conference. Do you go to any other shows besides Author Nation slash 20 books?
That's my favorite. Spent some time at Readers Take Denver this year, and
Oh yeah.
while I appreciate their efforts, I will not go back. We did some
I've
virtual
heard
ones.
so many bad things about that show, man.
It's a bummer. The idea was
So
great.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
yeah.
Russell, I'm spacing out Russell's last name at
Nolte.
the moment. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
I had a great virtual conference, and I was doing a physical one this year. I think we'll attend that. And
Yep.
Nink seems to be the
Yep.
recommended one. So
Yeah, that's the one.
yeah,
So if I can only choose two a year, I'd choose Nink and I'd choose Author Nation. If I could only do one, I'd choose Author Nation. And I may be a speaker at Russell and Monica's one in New Orleans this year.
awesome. Was it
We'll have to
Writer
see.
MBA? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah,
I've
Writer
actually,
MBA. That's what I was trying to think of. That's what it's called. I think
yeah, it's
that's their
there it is.
program, so I think that's what they're calling the conference.
Yeah, Writer
Yeah.
MBA. I've got all my stuff to deal with from the conference sitting right here.
Yeah, I'm still combing through all the swag and all the all the
Exactly.
stuff. That's cool. Yeah, so it's interesting, man. The stuff like what you're doing. I mean, was this clearly you came in hot on the digital side of your career, like you're not a coder though, right? Like that's not really your bailiwick.
I I thought I was going to be, right? In high school, I
Yeah.
thought I was going to be a video game
Yeah, me too.
engineer.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, took some of those coding skills to websites because that was a lot easier.
Yeah.
And when we first started, I was responsible for building the website, the front end, and my two co-founders, right? So my best friend Jesse, the Microsoft employee, and my wife is the other co-founder, and she was an engineer for years as well, a bunch of aerospace stuff. Also spent some time at Apple as an engineer.
Andy.
Um, the two of them eventually kind of slowly locked me out of the database. So I was kind of forced out of coding, and my coding was incredibly rudimentary, but it kind of
Yeah,
forced me out to go focus on the business stuff because they didn't want to do the business stuff. So they were going to write the code. They were much better at it anyway. But
yeah,
yeah, I I appreciate what a good engineer can do. I
me
like
too.
the idea of being able to build, yeah, build things. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, going outside and using my hands to build things is probably a better use of my lack of
Yeah,
skills
that's
anyway.
my thing. Yeah, so I kind of started my life as a electronics engineer, and
Okay.
I did some coding, but it was sort of almost machine language, that
Mm,
level coding, and that so it was
you're
a little different.
hardcore. You're an OG.
Man, no, but yeah, you don't do. I can't do that anymore. Like it's literally, it's one of those skills that like if you stop, that's it. You're done. You
Atrophy
can't
incredibly
get your
quickly.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The muscle
exactly.
memory
Like
doesn't come back.
my brain was like, nope, I didn't like any of that. Now you're going to make up stuff for a living. So, but and I did like Visual Basic and things like that for, basically creating like control systems for these like effectively they were like CNC type machines that did like
Wow.
conformal coating spray and stuff like that. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah, one of many careers that Kevin Tomlinson had. That he
Well, that's
never.
what brings all the unique insights so that you can become a
That's what
better
it is.
writer.
That's what it is, man. Yeah, yeah. That's why it's going to be interesting when you finally get around to writing science fiction because you'll bring your
Entrepreneurial
experience to
science
it.
fiction.
I think there's a market for that. Why wouldn't there be?
We'll find out.
Why wouldn't there be? There's those fiction books that are like sort of like a modern mythology kind of thing, where they're trying to
Yeah.
give you a business lesson, but there's like magic. Have you seen
Right.
have you seen those? So yeah, you could totally do it, man. I would read that if you did
Okay. I'm going to
that.
hold you to it.
You've got at least one reader. I will subscribe to your newsletter, sir.
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
so what's on the board? I mean, Genius Link is not done. It hasn't finished its final evolution yet, right? What's coming up?
Yeah, great question. There's there's a lot of different pieces that we're trying to weave together. So Genius Link as a whole is kind of four core pieces, right? We talked about the localization. We
Yep.
talked about the multi-retailer. Those are combined relatively well. We also talked about the monetization piece, right? And you mentioned, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt to go sign up for the various affiliate programs and get the affiliate link and use the
Yeah.
affiliate link in the right places. We want to clean up that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You recommend a product, we want to make sure that you're rewarded for sharing that product. And then kind of the last piece of that is around curation. We all know it from making mixtapes back in the day. We bought a platform called Kit in 2018, 2019 that was all about just what things do you put together to solve a problem? And
Yeah.
it's a platform that influencers and creators use to share their kits. And we really learned that there's a ton of value in kind of bringing things together. And we know that from authors as well, writing a series, right? A series
Hmm.
is way better than just not in general, a series can be a lot more powerful of an asset than just a single book.
Yeah.
So between the localization, the multi-retailer, the monetization, and the curation, if we can weave those four threads together, I think we have the ultimate link tool, link management, product recommendation, whatever you want to call it. So that's kind of the long-term goal. To summarize it though, it's really, we want our clients to be able to earn effortlessly everywhere. And that's, again, an oversimplification of it. So if you want to look at the weaving the four threads together or the three E's that earn effortlessly everywhere, that's where we're headed. If we
All
get there
right.
next year, yeah, I'll be surprised. We've got a lot of work ahead of us.
I have one more. I have a suggestion, a hope, a dream of something that I really need that I think you could probably create.
I'm all
Though it
ears.
though it won't be a priority for you, so I won't hold my breath. Here's what I need. Here's what I need. I want to be able to give my readers an affiliate link that of their own to encourage them to go sell books on my behalf and then it reports to me and I can pay them a percentage of that sale. That's what I'm looking for. So
It's
you
funny you
figure it
mentioned
out.
that. You know what? You ready for this?
Do it. Tell me. I'll
there's this
celebrate you.
whole there's this whole new so we've been hearing about it in the author space about the Amazon attribution API, right? Using
Yep.
attribution links to track how your offsite marketing is doing. And you're seeing some authors lean into this, but for the most part, we're seeing a lot of sellers of random products lean into this.
Right.
Because of this, plus Amazon recently came out with this brand referral bonus for sellers where they'll give a 10% kickback on fees. It's created this kind of perfect storm where there's actually now a series of companies called Amazon Seller Networks that do exactly this. They work as an affiliate network that sits on top of Amazon where you can recruit creators, influencers, publishers to sell your product on Amazon and give them a kickback out of your pocket. It's all
Interesting.
tracked on Amazon because, again, it's the Amazon Attribution API, but they're facilitating these two different sides. We actually tap into that with Genius Link as well to help open up the monetization for our clients. I'm not seeing authors do this though, and I think that's a huge opportunity and potential. So
Yeah.
after this podcast, maybe there's another conversation to be had because I think you're right that we have a lot of the pieces in the right place, but haven't put it together into a cohesive package just yet. So anyone that's listening as well, please don't hesitate to reach out because I think there's an opportunity here for exactly that, where yeah, there's some players in the space that can do it for us, or maybe we can help put the pieces together.
Yeah, that is I'm making a note right now. You
So
can see me looking
Levanta,
down.
Levanta.io is a platform I most recommend. They're one of the earliest to the space. Actually, we're also investors as well, full disclosure. Um,
Okay.
they're a Seattle-based company, really smart guys, really enjoy working with them. So Levanta.io.
Levanta.io. All right. That'll probably end up in the show notes. You gave me more homework. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I don't think authors realize what a potential powerhouse something like that would be, and because
Well, you
you
got like your street
effectively,
team, and yeah, you
yeah,
have your marketing teams. Like that concept is not new,
no,
but how do you actually track it and reward them, right? Yeah, you give them
right,
a free book, you give them kudos, maybe you throw them $100, but as soon as some book talker knows that they can make some
yep,
real money by
that's
promoting
right.
that book and they're behind it and they can actually track it,
Yeah,
I think that mechanism creates a whole lot of growth, right?
yeah.
And it's not inauthentic growth by any means, but it just
And
money
I can
talks.
get there. I mean, I can convince them to go get a Genius link and do it through their own affiliate thing. I mean, I could pitch it like that, but if I'm offering to cut them in on my sales across platform, I'm doing the marketing, you're helping me with the marketing, but we're going to partner together. Like I don't think authors have clicked yet to what a power move that would be. So, yeah, if you're going to do it, man, I'm on board with you. You will get
If,
my
if
$6 a month, sir. That's that's the least I can shuffle your way. Uh,
I'm less worried about that. I'm more excited about helping you sell more books.
It's help me sell more books, man. And yeah, that's my life goal right there. But I also want, you know me, I'm big on helping the author community. I want to see something like that
Absolutely.
exist for the author community as well. I want my bank account nice and fat, but I want to see millions of authors.
Well, it goes back to Author Nation, right?
That's
Before
right.
his Author Nation, Craig Martell in the 20 books, he was a huge
Yep.
fan of, the rising tide lifts all ships, right?
Yeah.
How it's not a zero-sum game. How can we help each other out? Because that's how we win.
Yep. I help you, and it ends up helping me. You can call it karmic if you want, but
Exactly. Pay it forward, it gets paid
and
back, it
forward.
all works out.
That's what it is. All right. Well, look, we've run out of time, which is unfortunate. So that's the next thing you got to work on is how to get more time. How do we
Oh, yeah, no problem.
time?
Uh,
You're in the programming business. So uh tell everybody where they can find you and Genius Link.
Yeah, so geniuslink.com or geni.us is how you find the site. Hit the contact form at the bottom of the page, and my team can send it directly to me, or find me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the social media platforms where I actually still have a presence. I believe it's just LinkedIn/Jesse Lakes/in/Jesse Lakes. Yeah, JESSELAKES.
And there will be links to that stuff. Most of this, if not all of this, in the in the show notes. I'll probably get around to putting it all in there. But thank you, Jesse, for being on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Now, everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Without you, what would I even be sitting here for? What would be the point? I might as well just be sitting in a closet somewhere, but which is how this show started, by the way. But you're going to want to stick around because at the end of this, you're going to get a note at the end. I'm not sure what that will be about, but it's sure to be fun, inspiring, educating. One of those things from my mission statement. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. You know, I've always believed life's too short for boring stories. So I write the kind of books I'd want to read. Action-packed, fast-paced fiction. Adventure stories with characters you'll wish you could hang out with. And twists you'll never see coming. From ancient mysteries to modern-day thrills, my books take you on a wild ride. And trust me, I've got plenty of rides to choose from. So if you're ready to escape into a world of danger, discovery, and intrigue, it's here waiting. Find your adventure at kevintumlinson.com/books. Not responsible for sleepless nights. Well, here we are at a note at the end, and that makes this the note at the end of 2024. I just realized what a thing. So this year has been very different for me. This has been one of the most significantly different years I've had in the past decade. For one, this was the first full year in which I did not work for Draft to Digital, which was the big change that I had coming into this year. Um, those of you who've been around since the beginning know that I left Draft to Digital actually in October of 2023 to become the CEO of Book Sweeps, and that's how I started 2024. And then, that just didn't work out. If you're curious about it, I mean, the details, there's nothing really all that salacious or there's nothing about it that's too juicy. It's just that, Ryan and I are good friends. We work well together, but we had different visions for what the company should be, and he had a kind of challenging time letting go of the reins of the company, and it just worked out better for us to go ahead and sever that, and for me to step down as CEO. Do I have no regrets about that, to be honest. I to be really honest, going into the whole arrangement, I had some trepidation, but I really wanted to make it work because I can see the potential of something like Book Sweeps, and I really had a vision for it. But Ryan's the founder. He's the one who created that and made it what it is. So you got to respect that, and I did. And my way of respecting it the most was to step down. It was honorable to do that rather than try to push my philosophy and ideas on him and force things to go the way I think they should go. I think it's important for if you're a CEO. I think it's very important that you do have a vision and that the company has the capability of aligning to that vision. I have seen some CEOs step into roles where they took over, changed everything, and their vision became the overriding, context of the company to the company's detriment. And I didn't want to see that happen to Book Sweeps. I didn't want to be the reason that it had trouble and struggles. I also think that as a CEO, you should be willing to sort of be flexible and pliable when it comes to sort of the culture of a company. You don't want to come in and just start making a bunch of changes just in the name of making them. Like that's no good for any of us. So, yeah, it's important to respect a company's culture, its background, and if you're going to come into a leadership role in any company, those things need to be on your mind. They were definitely on my mind. The company was small, smaller even than Drafted Digital, which is quite, saying quite a bit because Drafted Digital, when I joined, let's see, I joined in 2016 and we had 17 employees, um, three of whom were founders. And so, not a lot of employees at the company, and it's grown since then. There's 20 some odd employees, or there were when I left. I don't know how many there are now a year later, but I was there for the growth of that company, and I got to see it grow. And I had some influence over that, and I have some ideas about how we could have done things a little different. Um, and I wanted to apply all that to book sweeps, but at the same time, there were people who'd been working there for a while. They had a sort of working philosophy. They had resources and tools and things that were already kind of in place. The stuff that I wanted to change would have fundamentally changed the DNA of the company. So since that became intolerable to Ryan in a sense, like not viscerally or angrily, but just he had a strong take on what that company was and what it should remain. And my vision of change didn't fit with that. And so it became necessary to step down. So no regrets there. I don't think either of us regret that. And we still talk. We hung out together for a bit at Author Nation in Vegas this past November. Uh, and he's still going strong. So that said, leadership is such an interesting topic to me. I don't think that I've ever necessarily had a compulsion to just be a CEO. I've been a CEO now a couple of times, businesses I've started and businesses that I inherited. I've been, sort of in that. I've been in the C-suite. I've also been at just the sort of executive level in general in companies. And, I like working with a team. I'm even considering like how could I incorporate this stuff into my own business, like as an author and creator. There is a lot to be said for that. I think it's a good idea to strive to be a leader in some form of organization, uh, in order for you to learn how to enhance your own career. You may decide after doing that that it is not for you. And I think in a lot of ways, man, it may not be for me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still torn. I'm torn because on the one hand, um, it was frustrating in a sense for me to take on the reins of a company and not have the autonomy I needed to run it the way I thought it should be run. It was also a grand learning experience for me. I mean, I took so much away from that I now carry with me forward. And so if I do step into another leadership role somewhere, whether it's something I create or, you know, I step on board with another company, uh, those lessons go with me, and they I think they will benefit whatever business I'm a part of. Really kind of funny to talk about this stuff because honestly, I think all I ever really wanted was to be a writer, be a creative, and that's a hard business to be in, honestly. Um, Stepping into sort of the behind the scenes world of publishing, I don't think that was ever on my radar. I don't, I- you know, when I started doing stuff, when I started this podcast, which is what led to everything. Wordslinger podcast is why I ended up at Draft Digital. It's how I ended up meeting so many of these people you know, that have been such a big influence on my career. Uh, but even before Drafted Digital, some of these folks like Joanna Penn, whom I just recently interviewed for Writers Inc. podcast. She's been a guest on this show a number of times. I've been a guest on her show a number of times. Johnny Truant, same story. I met all these people before I came on board with Draft Digital. And so it was a little weird. It was almost incestuous in a way for me to join D2D. But um, yeah, I've lost track of where I was going with that. But it's been very interesting, this career. So much different, so very different from what I would have thought. And I was not expecting to become part of the publishing landscape per se, other than to be a writer. I wanted to be an author, and I did that. And I'm very proud of the work I've done. I think the lesson there, and maybe this is what I'm taking into 2025, and maybe this will help you. But for me, the lesson is, to be flexible. You need to keep in mind that sometimes the path you think you're on isn't the path, isn't the entire path. There's bits that you're not seeing. There's the landscape to consider. And you know, me getting into this world the way I did, when I did, it diverted me from the path I thought I was on. And sometimes I feel like I resent that because ultimately what I would love is for my books to be discovered and loved, and that is paying our way to castles in the sky. Seems like God's got a different plan for me than that, and it kind of keeps looping me back around. I God keeps putting different paths in front of me, and I don't know if that's a test. This is the stuff I think about. Is that a test to see how determined I am to stay on the path that I say is my path? Or is it the opportunity to experience something deeper, richer, more meaningful than even what I hoped for and expected? Hard to say. Very challenging. This is what makes this whole business very challenging. Publishing as a business is a challenging business. Create the creative economy is interesting. You know, this YouTube channel and this podcast, the podcast does better than the YouTube channel. I haven't worked out a way to monetize it. I've had some offers for some ad space and things like that, and maybe I don't know. I think there's a little bit of negative self-talk that happens there, like imposter syndrome, basically. Like who am I to charge people for ads on this show? I've done it before, but I always felt like a fraud for some reason. And because there is that notion of like this is kind of a labor of love. This work that I've done, mostly for free for a decade now. Um, and they do say that if you want to discover your true career path, I mean, if you want to discover, you know, the thing that you're meant to be doing, the purpose of your life, look at the things that you would do for free. And, you know, writing was something I did for free for a long time. Podcasting, I've done for free for years. So maybe these are part of the purpose of my life. I see myself as a writer and a creator. Uh, Maybe the point here then is for me to now take this to a new stage. So maybe 2025, this is me doing some strategy and planning live for you on the air. Because I've got I bought a planner. That's my new logo sticker on there. 2025 planner from Rodea. Very cool, actually. But I sit with this each morning now. Big fan of journaling, as you may or may not know. There's interior. For those watching, if you're not watching on YouTube, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Uh, but you can see, like I've got plenty of notes for, this is all planning. This is all strategy. And each week each day I have some stuff that I track in this. There's a daily calendar I'll track. And then each week I go through the week doing some planning, strategizing, or defining things like that. And then every week I'll do a review. Every Sunday I do a review of my strategy and planning. And as I go into 2025, like this is guiding me. Um, Never been that organized about that sort of thing before, but I decided like this would be the year for me to do that. Uh, but because I'm doing that, I'm gaining a lot of insight into, what it is I really want to accomplish. So maybe this year, maybe part of this year is how do I monetize the other parts of what I do? I can monetize the books, uh, but in the interest of creating multiple streams of revenue, maybe it's time to look at how do I monetize the other things I create. Substack is much easier. I've actually got people who pay for subscriptions to support me on Substack. This year, maybe I should look at how do I up that game. And there's the Wordslinger podcast, which I've done mostly for free, but I've gotten some offers for paid ads. So maybe I should look at how to go ahead and monetize this show. We take sponsors for Writers Inc., but that money doesn't come to me at all. That is purely folded back into the production of that show so that, one of us doesn't have to do it. We pay someone to edit and produce that podcast. That may be what I end up doing with Wordslinger too. It would be nice to sit down, record an episode, hand it all over, and let someone else take care of it. I'll be honest. But the show has to pay for itself before I can justify doing that. And I haven't emphasized doing that. Um, and then there's other things, potentials. If you have ideas for ways for me to monetize this show or to otherwise create more streams of revenue so that I can kind of peel back on what I'm doing and do less but accomplish more, feel free to leave me a comment. Pardon me. You can either pop into YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, do it there, or find me on Substack where this show is hosted now. You can do that, leave a comment, or just go over to kevintumlinson.com/contact. Go to my website, click the contact button, and you can send me an email there if you want. I would be interested to hear some thoughts on ways to kind of up the game when it comes to revenue, because the books do okay, but they're not quite hitting the mark right now. It seems like there's been a little bit of a shift. Discoverability has become tougher, things like that. So, I'm open to hearing some new ideas because I'm kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut trying the same old stuff over and over again. Some of it still works and a lot of it doesn't. So I would appreciate hearing new ideas. But beyond that, so 2025, we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Why don't you let me know what your 2025 is going to look like? What are you planning? What do you got going on? Especially if you're on YouTube, pop in, uh, tell me exactly what you're thinking is going to be the big project for 2025. Here's something I did jot down in this planning in my planner. Um, I'm doing these silos. So I've got this thing. So there's first of all, there's the mission, and the mission is like the overall goal of my career and life. Um, of course, you know that is wealth and success as a writer and creator. That's the mission. So it's vague. It's just a guiding, light, a guiding principle or a guiding thought. Uh, Within the mission, there are projects that are meant to move me towards, that in-game goal of the mission. Uh, Projects are, you know, a new Kotler book, a new Alex Kane book, a new podcast, or a new YouTube channel, or whatever. Those can be projects. And so under project then is tasks. These are the things I have to do to make that project happen. I have what I'm calling a holding tank where all those projects sit until I'm ready to execute on them. So they don't overwhelm me with, feeling like I'm behind or anything like that. I don't feel obligated. These are just ideas I had, and then I can work on one at a time, which is what I think, is necessary. I try to do a whole bunch of things at once, I get overwhelmed, start dropping things. So I'm going to start with kind of the low-hanging fruit stuff first, like more books, the existing podcasts, things like that. That's going to be my part of my planning and strategy for the first quarter of the year. I've got an overall goal for my career, which I'm calling TLD for 2025. Anyway, 2025 is the year of TLD, and that is total local domination. That's my goal for 2025. Uh, I'm going to work out strategies so that I am known so well locally that I can't be avoided. That's where I'm starting my 2025. And then I'm going to systematically expand what local means. Uh, and it comes from that thousand true fans idea. If you have a thousand true fans, the saying goes, then you'll be successful. And I have that, but I think to grow, I'm going to just kind of keep adding a thousand true fans. So quarter one of this year, and if you see me, if you're watching this on YouTube and you see me look off to my right, it's because I have a little chalkboard there, a little magnetic chalkboard with like some goals and things I wrote. And 2025 is going to be the year of TLD, but first quarter is for me to find 1,000 local readers in my hometown here. And then once I've gotten through the quarter, if I've succeeded in finding those 1,000 readers, then I'll decide in quarter two what the next what local becomes. So I'm thinking like 50-mile radiuses. So that's part of my strategy, and that's a very important term because I've decided that strategy is better than planning. And what I mean by that is like I'm planning. Planning is something that's continuously happening, but it has to happen on I think, a per project basis. That's where those tasks come in that I was talking about. So there's the mission. That's and it's not a goal. It's the mission. It's like the dream, the vague, uh, ephemeral idea of what I want my life to be. And then the projects are things that move me towards that mountain. And then within the project is the list of tasks that are necessary in order for that project to become a reality. So that's the way I'm structuring this. But strategy, rather than planning, is my goal here. Strategy is better than planning, in other words, better, more versatile, more useful. Because if I have a strategy, um, then and I plan for each project rather than trying to, create this. I hate that process of what's your 1 year plan and 3 year plan and 5 year plan. That has never worked for me. It always bogs me down. I feel overwhelmed by it, and it's never been effective for me. But if I have a strategy for success, so I know part of my strategy is write new books. That one's a simple one. uh, Produce the podcast. The strategy for success in the podcast is produce a podcast episode every week. The strategy for success for the books involves writing a new book in a certain time frame, right? Uh, Within a year, I can determine how many books I want to write, and then I will be successful if I write that number of books. If I don't write that number, I want to analyze why, because I want to utilize failure as a learning tool, a training instrument. Why did I fail at that target? Um, what can I learn from it? What can I take from it and turn into a strength rather than a weakness? So if my weakness was I never made the time to write, X number of words per day, then how do I compensate for that? Maybe the strategy will involve changing the number of books I target each year. Maybe it becomes rather than 6 books a year, it's 4 books a year or 3 books a year. Maybe rather than setting a target of 2,000 words per day, it's just maybe at least to start, it's write fiction every day. Now, I've got a long and storied history of writing 2,000 plus words a day, sometimes up to like 10,000 words a day. occasionally epic numbers beyond that. But I got burnt out in 2023, and that changed everything for me. And so now I'm having to kind of reinvent myself as a writer. And so for the time being, maybe the best approach is to say, as long as I write something, even if it's just 50 words that day of fiction, then I have succeeded in that goal. So that's where tracking comes in, though, because every day so like right now, I say, did I write fiction today? On each day in my planner, I write yes or no. And then I write the number of words that the current book is sitting at, or the number of words I wrote, or whatever, something I can track and to see progress. And once I have gotten through the week, I'll review. Did I write every day? No, I missed Monday. I missed Christmas Day, or although I did write on Christmas Day, but you could see where this is going. The strategy is what's going to keep me going and growing. If I were to sit and try to plan all this, I would bog myself down really quickly with too many tasks and too many ideas. I just can't regulate myself that way. That's me. Maybe you're better at this than I am. That's what I'm discovering too, is everyone's got a different method, different process. And this is what's working for me, and I'm going to embrace it. So strategy over planning, total local domination, and then concentrating on mission, then project, then task, breaking it all down that way. And that's going to be at least quarter one of 2025. We'll see what happens in 3 months. So, well, anyway, I think I've gone a little long here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. But really happy you're here. I hope you had a blessed Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed New Year. Stay safe. Don't do anything crazy. Just let's keep things low key and safe. All right. And I want to see you in 2025. But make sure you spend time with family. Kiss and hug the ones you love. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and elsewhere. Thank you for sharing this podcast with other people in your life. I hope people are getting something good out of it. I hope you're being blessed by it. So appreciate you being here. Love you with all my heart. God bless you. And I'll see you in 2025.
Wordslinger.